What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So a couple of days ago, I dropped my way too early bottom 10 teams for next season, the teams that I think are going to absolutely stink. So now, naturally, it's time to do the reverse. We're looking at the top 10 best teams for next season. By the way, we're going to be talking about the Stanley Cup Final to determine the best team this season tomorrow when we film the podcast after Game 3. But this video is just looking at next season based on heading into this offseason. Are some teams extremely cap crunched like a Dallas Stars and only have $5 million and like 5 big free agents? Or do teams have a shit ton of money to potentially improve? Are they going to have internal growth from their team? Or is their team starting to get up there in age in terms of regression? So yeah, that is all going to be factored. We're actually going to start with number 1 and work our way up, because I think you're probably going to know who like the top 4 or 5 teams are going to be for this, probably the top 3. So yeah, let's get into it. And up first at number 1, this might be a little bit of a surprise, but I'm going with the Carolina Hurricanes next season. This was never going to be their year, of course, once they trade away Mikko Rantanen. They need to be nuclear aggressive this season in terms of weaponizing their cap space and maybe trading a prospect or two to get serious difference makers, considering the fact that they have $28 million of salary cap space, and the only guy that they might bring back is Eric Robinson. Orlov, Burns, Roslovic, probably going to hit the free agency market. They are going to be so damn good, and the internal growth that this team could have of guys like Stankoven. Seth Jarvis is still only like 23 years old. Jackson Blake, Bradley Nadeau coming up, Nicky Shin, Morrow. Like, they have dirt cheap ELC high-level prospects making the jump. And again, they can add 3 $8-ish million guys, or 1 Mitch Marner, and then 2 other very good players. So in looking at this team, although it was a pretty embarrassing effort against the Florida Panthers, we're going to talk about Florida, they might be losing some guys. Meanwhile, the Carolina Hurricanes are a young, hungry bunch. They have all of their picks, as well as, of course, the 2 Dallas first-round picks. So they have the ammo to go for it. Rod Brind'Amour also needs to somewhat of adjust his system, because he's not been very successful. But if Tulsky does his job, I know that they don't have the superstar talent, but I think that they could assemble like a 2023 Vegas Golden Knights where they're just so goddamn deep that they can get it done come playoff time. But of course, maybe I'm falling forward again like I have in prior years with this team. But yeah, Carolina has a really special opportunity to be a good team, and a great team next season. Next year is really going to be their year. Next up, I got the Florida Panthers, $19 million to re-sign Sam Bennett, Brad Marchand, and Aaron Ekblad. Probably going to re-sign Bennett, I'd say, at this point. Aaron Ekblad's kind of like 60-40. Marchand might kind of be out the door, considering the fact he wants to cash in, considering $6.1 million is the most that he's ever made on an AAV. But still, they're going to be awesome. They're going to have a full season of Seth Jones. Most of their core is between the ages of 26 to 30. Bobrovsky, although he's getting up there in age, has really not really shown any signs of slowing down. Had a little bit of a down year regular season, but has a 9-12 this year in the playoffs. So I have no reason to not think that this team is yet again going to be a top-tier contender. They're just awesome. Paul Maurice has these guys cooking, and even last year, although they weren't great in the regular season, we've clearly seen them just run through the Eastern Conference every single season. They check in at number 2. At number 3, the Edmonton Oilers, no shocker here. They have $11.9 million of cap space with Evan Bouchard and a lot of key depth, including Corey Perry, Connor Brown, John Klingberg, Trent Frederick, Kapanen, as well as Jeff Skinner. So they're going to lose a decent amount of depth, considering Bouchard has played himself into a 10.5, maybe even sniffing $11 million contract. So still going to be an awesome team, because McDavid and Draisaitl are still only 28 and 29 years old. But I don't think that they're going to be as deep of a team. They could potentially move off Kulak as like the only real bad contract, not bad contract, but they could free up some money to keep like 3 depth guys, or maybe move off of Vander Kane, but he is so good come playoff time. So yeah, they're going to lose a decent amount of depth. I guess they'll have Matthew Savoy coming up within the system, but outside of that, not a ton to improve their depth or be able to replace their depth. Edmonton still should be amazing. Don't get me wrong. Also, some of their guys are starting to get up there in age, like Zach Hyman and Matthias Ekholm and RNH, but still, they're going to be the top dog and the team to beat in the Western Conference next year. Next up at 4th, I'm still believing in Tampa Bay. When you're looking at them after re-signing Yadi Gord on that goofy 6-year deal at $2.33 million, they didn't have Oliver Bjorkstrand in the playoffs against the Florida Panthers. And against Florida, that first game was really ugly, but their other 3 losses, they were deeply in that series. It's a little bit misleading, only going 5 games. But yeah, they actually have forward depth. Getting Gord, getting Bjorkstrand, although that Gord contract might not be that good down the line, he might have to retire. Next season, they're finally going to have a functionable third line. There is serious concerns about the age of their defensemen. Ryan McDonagh's 35 years old. Victor Hedman's 34 years old. Kucherov's 31 and Vasilevsky's 30, but they've really showed no signs of aging. Vasilevsky just had his best year in the last 3 seasons. Kucherov just went for 120 points, so I'm not too worried about that. It's looking like they're finally going to have some depth, and they'll probably go nuclear yet again at the deadline. I'm still buying stock on the Tampa Bay Lightning potentially having one last Stanley Cup deep run. Definitely, you got to give Florida the nod, considering they beat them the last 2 years. But I think Tampa's going to be overlooked just because they lost in 5 games, but they played pretty easily the best team in the Eastern Conference in the first round as a result of divisional seeding. At number 5, the Vegas Golden Knights. They kind of got exposed against the Edmonton Oilers, but considering that Edmonton beat the shit out of the Dallas Stars as well, I'm not overly concerned. And for this, I expect Vegas to do something batshit crazy. There's already rumors that they're going after Mitch Marner, and as soon as Mitch Marner's going to go there, he's going to become an absolute playoff demon on day one. But I think they're going to be aggressive. They're already floating out Nick Cage instead of giving him $3 to $4 million. They're opening up that cap space that they expected to pay him. And Eichel, Stone, Theodore, all still very, very elite players. I just trust Vegas's management to kind of do this retool. It's only been 2 years since they won the Stanley Cup, but they don't give a shit. They're going to be very, very aggressive in terms of overhauling this roster and potentially bringing in yet another stud guy. So I'm pretty high in the Vegas Golden Knights heading into next season. At number 6, the Dallas Stars. And they're going to lose a decent amount this summer, considering they have $5 million to spend with Duchesne, Bourque, Granlund, Dadonov, and Ben as free agents. Even if they lose 3 of those guys, they still do have, even if they lose those, their forward core is still going to be pretty damn good, considering the guys that they have under contract. The left side of the defense is great. The goaltender's good. The right side of the defense obviously stinks, but this still should be a 100-ish point team. And come playoff time, it would not shock me if they made a Western Conference Finals yet again. 7th, I have the Colorado Avalanche. They found a way to bring back Brock Nelson. Maybe I don't love the 3-year, $7.5 million contract that we'll talk more about on the podcast. But now they do finally have some semblance of a legit second-line center for the first time since 2022. Still got guys like Lehkonen, Nichushkin, obviously McCarr and McKinnon. As long as they have those two, they're going to be a high-level team. They're entering this season the most balanced since 2022, also having a full season of Mackenzie Blackwood. So although last year they did really go for it and did massively come up short, and they are going to be losing Jonathan Drouin and Ryan Lindgren, this is still a safe playoff team that has the superstars to be in any single series. I'd be shocked if they were below 98 points next season. So I have them checking in at number 7. Another Central team, the Minnesota Wild. When looking at them, when Kaprizov was healthy for the start of the season and even towards the end, they were a 106-point team with Kaprizov. And considering the fact that they're finally getting out of that Suter and Parise money, they have $15.7 million of cap space. Yes, Marco Rossi, I personally wouldn't trade him, but there is a realistic situation where they trade him for more so immediate help. And at least for next season, they're a better team. And even for if they trade him, they're still going to have another $8 to $9 million to spend. Gustav Nyquist is their only unrestricted free agent. So they're going to be able to bring in a solid free agent like a Brock Besser. I know I don't love the idea of a 7-year deal at $8 million for Brock Besser before next season. I think they are going to be a much better team as long as Philip Gustafsson does not revert back to 2023-2024 form and is a good goaltender. Zeev Boyum making the jump to the NHL level will definitely improve their power play and a lot more offense on that third pair. That third pair has been pretty ass in prior years. So the Minnesota Wild, as long as they can stay healthy, as long as Gustafsson can be consistent, this should be a 100-ish point team and definitely actually have a chance to make it out of the Central Division. Well, they made the wild card last year, but actually have a chance to make some serious noise in the Central Division. Number 9, I have the Toronto Maple Leafs. Yes, they might lose Mitch Marner. Yes, that is probably going to hurt them in the regular season, but there's a realistic situation where they spread that money out more efficiently, that come playoff time, they are a deeper team, especially within that bottom 6, which they have just not been able to generate any goals. You look at that third line of Lorentz, Lawton, and I forget who else, Holmberg maybe. They were absolutely invisible in that Florida series. But the Leafs are still a damn good team. That defense core is all returning for the most part, and it's probably been their best defense core of the Matthews era. The tandem is very good, as long as Stolarz doesn't get taken out by Sam Bennett. He was playing damn good in the playoffs. As well as they just need their superstars to step up. I think John Tavares is going to re-sign a more so of a team-friendly deal. Matthew Nyes might get an absolute bag. On top of course, that they took the Florida Panthers to 7 games. You got to respect that. Even if the Game 5 and Game 7 performances were pitiful, they were up, 2 or 3-1 in that Game 3 to potentially go up 3-0. So it's looking like that this core with some kind of big change to Mitch Marner, who's been invisible for games 5 through 7. You got to have a little bit more optimism heading into next season with Berube as the coach compared to prior years when Dubas was the general manager and Keefe was the head coach. Wouldn't be my pick to come out of the Eastern Conference or get over the hump for the Florida Panthers next season. But if Brad Treliving spends that money appropriately, which he actually did a pretty good job in free agency last year, but his Calgary tenure tells you that he can have some flubs occasionally. This team, if they have a more balanced forward core and the superstars actually show up, could potentially win the Stanley Cup. The Los Angeles Kings check in at number 10. And when looking at the LA Kings, similar to the Florida Panthers, they gave the Edmonton Oilers probably their best series, only team to go 6 with them. And in those first 4 games were pretty objectively the better team. Definitely were the better team in the first 2 games of that series. Took the late game Evan Bouchard heroics to avoid a 3-1 lead by the LA Kings. But yeah, when looking at them, Kopitar and Doughty as well as Kemper are starting to get up there in age, but they do have a lot of young, exciting guys like Quinton Byfield, Lafreniere. Hopefully they finally play Brant Clark and Jordan Spence a lot more. Gavrikov is a free agent, but I think they're going to find a way to bring him back, especially considering he's on the left side. But yeah, the LA Kings, Holland is going to come in and try to win now with that core. I don't think he's going to have some kind of long plan. He's going to be aggressive. He's going to try to bring in some help this season. And I think the LA Kings, although I personally don't think that they have like the superstars to go on to win the Stanley Cup, they're definitely a very well-balanced team and should be a safe playoff team yet again. And here's the top 10 yet again in its all its glory. Carolina at number 1. People are going to shit on me for that. The Florida Panthers, Edmonton Oilers, Tampa Bay Lightning. People are probably going to get mad at that as well. Vegas Golden Knights, Dallas Stars, Colorado Avalanche, Minnesota Wild, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the LA Kings. None of the conference regular season winners for the Washington Capitals and the Winnipeg Jets. I still think they're going to be very good. I still think they're going to be a playoff team. I'm not expecting them to be 91-point teams that missed the wild card, but I think they're going to come back down a little bit down to earth. Like everybody on those teams had career seasons, and in Winnipeg's case, their guys are starting to get up there a little bit in age. Most of their cores between the ages of 28 to 32, and for Winnipeg, they might be losing Nikolai Ehlers. They're going to have to pay Velarde and Sandberg a decent amount. For Washington, yeah, I think Carolina is going to take that top spot in the Metro Division. A healthy New Jersey Devils and the New York Rangers can only improve. So I think they're going to come back down a little bit to earth, but still a very good team, especially with the defense core and the goalie tandem. But yeah, that's where I stand. The New Jersey Devils, I just with their injuries, I can't quite put them top 10. Maybe they do something that completely wows me, but I can't trust Jack Hughes, Luke Hughes, or Dougie Hamilton to stay healthy for a full 82-game season at this point. But yeah, let me know in the comments, what do you think about this list? Who would you move up? Who would you move down? Again, tomorrow, we'll hopefully have the podcast out by like 2, 3 p.m., going over the Stanley Cup Final, going over the Nelson contract, going over all the shit that happened in the last week. Thank you guys so much. Love ya. I'll be seeing you in the next one. Peace.